Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. Hi there, my name is Elisa and this is the Knitting Stories podcast. This is my space on YouTube, I think. Or I think it will be my space on YouTube. I'm not sure if I will ever upload this video or if this will remain just something for me. But I'm happy I'm doing it. This podcast is something that I'm starting because I feel like I want to start talking more about yarn and my projects and my knitting adventure. I'm just learning. I've been knitting from September, October of 2020 and it's been like 2 years of knitting for me, but you know, everyone has their own time and this is mine. I've started knitting during the pandemic, like a lot of us, I think. And it has not always been very easy for me to knit, just because I'm still a student and sometimes university is like so time consuming for me that it becomes very hard to knit and to find time for knitting, and sometimes even in the evening when I do not study because I forbid myself to study. It becomes so hard to knit because I'm so tired. And so yeah, maybe I am not the most perfect knitter, but I would like to have my small space on the internet to talk about yarn and to talk with you about what I love to do. So yeah, the Knitting Stories podcast. So I feel like I should tell something more about me, just to make you discover something more about me. So my name is Elisa and I'm a knitter, a 24 years old knitter from northern Italy. I live close to Milan, and I spent most of my life here. I've studied in Milan and then I moved to Bologna to study history of arts there, and history of arts is my other passion, except for after knitting. And then I moved back home because I finished my lessons, my classes, and now I'm just studying for the exams from my home. And I'm basically a student and I have a job. So I hope I will be able to keep up with this podcast because I'm already feeling that talking about yarn and talking about knitting related stuff is something that can appeal me, because I already do this at home with my family, with my boyfriend, with everyone that I know a lot, and I love doing that. Maybe my parents or my relatives do not like it that much, and maybe this podcast is also for them, for me, and for them who can't stand me anymore. But I think that you can relate to this too. What you can expect from this podcast is like me talking like I'm doing right now. Talking about yarn and making questions, asking you things, and it really doesn't matter if you are not very experienced knitters. It really doesn't matter if you are if you are a weak knitter, or if you do not have a lot of experience. I'm here because I want to hear all these things from you. So yeah, and I'm open to everything. I would love to talk to you. I would love for you to listen to me while knitting, and it would feel like knitting together, I think. And I would love also for you to reply to my questions and rambles down in the comment below or on Instagram. By the way, on Instagram my name is my handle is Elisa Knitting Stories, so I will like write it down below. And yeah, this podcast is just for me to talk about yarn with someone who can listen to me and who would like to talk about yarn with me too. So I don't really have a special plan in mind. I just know that this will probably be like a very traditional podcast with me showing you my finished objects, my current whips, my knitting plans and knitting goals, objectives, and so on. I would like you to bring along with me my knitting journey. I would like to bring you along with me to, I don't know, maybe travels, showing you other yarn shops, and even yarn shops here in northern Italy, precisely in Milan. And so this is mostly what you find here. But of course, if you have specific questions or or if you would like to see something more specific, here you are free to ask, and you are free to leave me a comment in the section down below, and I will reply to all of you, I'm sure about it, also because I don't think that a lot of people will follow me and will listen to my rambles. So another thing is that I love to ramble. I love to start imagining things and go somewhere else with my mind. So I'm already saying I'm sorry for this. I know that I will do it a lot, but I know that there's someone out there who is just like me. So if you're there, I know you'll understand me. And so yes, the Knitting Stories podcast, and maybe something good will come out of it. Maybe it will just be for me and some few people. But yeah, I hope this will be nice for someone. I'm not very sure where I should start. Maybe I should just start by talking to you about what I'm currently working on. So I'm working on a project that I've already done. So maybe I can show you. Yeah. So this will become a balaclava. This will become a balaclava, and yeah, I'm following the YouTube tutorial by Well Love Knits, and I've already done some other balaclavas following that tutorial, but my friends love it just so much that I'm going on knitting it, and I've found the perfect affordable yarn for doing it at my local market. Yeah, I don't know if you have the same things, but here in Italy, in every small town, we have a market once a week. The market in my town is every Tuesday, and there's a space for selling yarn, and there's always this kind man who always gives me good advice, and once he suggested me to use this yarn to make hats and beanies and so on, and so I thought it would have been the perfect yarn for making balaclavas, and because it's very soft, it's very squishy, it's if I'm not wrong, 70% alpaca, 20% wool and 10% polyamide. So maybe I can show you the yarn ball. It's this very, I don't know if you can see that, but maybe I can show you. Yeah, it's this beautiful gray, but it almost seems brown because of these little here you can see one, I don't know, well, I hope you are able to see that, but because of these very nice purple undertones that are there, and it's very squishy. Actually, maybe I can show you some other projects that I did with this yarn. Here's another project with the same yarn, you can see it's another balaclava, and so I did it with, oh gosh, yeah, here. I did it with the same yarn and with the same tutorial, and I love it. I don't know why. Maybe I should say that I do not need a lot of beanies. I do not need a lot of hat because of my bangs. It's always so messy when I take off my hat, so I prefer balaclavas because of my bangs. And it was wonderful discovering that I could do that with knitting, because of course balaclavas have become like a trend in the last year, I think. I can see some balaclavas in H&M or Zara. I could see them this winter, but I could not see them last winter, so I found it great that I could knit balaclavas. And actually my love for balaclavas started with the November balaclava by Petit Knit. And yeah, I'm like a very basic knitter. I knit Petit Knit's pattern because I found them so easy to follow and well written, and like the November balaclava is just one of them. So I realized my November balaclava, that is this one, and I love the color. I realized it last year, like 1 year ago, and I've done it with a very precious yarn, a yarn that I love. That is the Beiroa by Retrosaria Rosa Pomar. Yeah, I know, it's so beautiful. So this yarn is a 100-gram ball. It's 230 meters. It's worked with 4 or 5 millimeter needles. I remember working this with 4 millimeter needles. It's like when you touch it, it seems very rustic, but actually it's so soft when you have it in your hands, and it isn't scratchy at all. So I immediately fell in love with the color when I went to Rosa Pomar's shop in Lisbon, and I had to take it away with me, but I could just buy 2 balls because of course, you know, flight and luggage and so on. But I hope I will find some, like I used less than a ball to make these balaclava, the November balaclava, and I loved it also because it was the first very natural yarn that I used. And you know, I fell in love with these black spots of undyed yarn that sometimes appear in the thread, and yeah, it makes it so special. Like, it makes me remember, of course, of when I was in Portugal, in Lisbon, but at the same time it is very valuable from a knitting point of view, I must say. So yes, this yarn definitely recommended. You will discover that I used a lot of Retrosaria Rosa Pomar's yarn in my past objects, because you know, I spent quite some time in Lisbon, and yeah, so this is one of my favorites. And probably, I hope I will find somewhere here in Italy some more Beiroa, because I would like to do something very stripy. Maybe I'm thinking about buying a color, or by the way, this is color 539 of Beiroa by Retrosaria Rosa Pomar. I'll write everything down below as always. And I hope I will be able to find some neutral color, very light neutral color, maybe something like a cream or a very light beige, to pair with this ball and make something like a Marseille sweater or something stripy for myself without using mohair. because you will discover that I do not use very often mohair, not because I don't like mohair, but just because I find it to be very expensive, and yeah, so I'm still a student. It's not always very affordable to knit, but yeah, Retrosaria Rosa Pomar. So I was talking about balaclavas, and yeah, I'm knitting a balaclava at the moment with this other yarn. It's not a very precious yarn, but you know, sometimes we have to just yeah, use what we got. And I have another project, another whip. I have a lot of whips actually, but not because I like having a lot of whips. I would describe myself as a monogamous knitter, but that's not always the case. So my other and my biggest project at the moment, my biggest whip at the moment is this. You probably recognize this. So, yeah. Yeah, okay. This is, and I'll probably start working a little bit on this. This is, of course, the famous zipper sweater by Petit Knit. Okay, two patterns in a row are by Petit Knit, but you know, that's usual. That's usual business. So yeah, this is the zipper sweater light man actually, by Petit Knit, and I'm knitting these for my boyfriend. And yeah, size XS. This is good because I can buy one pattern both for me and for my boyfriend and just make some adjustments like the length of the bust and the length of the arms, and yeah, but I should say something more about this pattern. So I love the construction. I love making the collar, and I know that a lot of other knitters have enjoyed this pattern a lot. Like the collar is definitely my favorite part, because now I'm finishing the row and I'm showing you these, but yeah, the collar is definitely it, because it's so squishy, because it's so like soft, and it's so fun to make, and yeah. So wait, I'm unraveling a little bit of the cone, and then I'll talk also about the yarn I'm using, of course. So the collar is so squishy. It's so squishy, and it was definitely my favorite part. Another thing that I love about Petit Knit's raglan designs, this is a raglan design, is that the raglan lines are always so, like you can see these here, are always so visible, and I think that it gives structure to the whole garment. And at the same time, I love the simplicity of the stockinette stitch. You will know me a little bit more, you'll discover that I do not love very complex like lace details, but like the pleasure of finishing a stockinette sweater, it's something like very special for me. And yeah, so I love the design. I always about something else about Petit Knit's like design is the end of the ribbing with these double knitted like tubular bind off or Italian bind off that I enjoy a lot. I know that this is an unpopular opinion in the knitting world, but I love Italian bind off. I find it so calming, I find it so repetitive, and this is probably also why I love knitting, like doing a lot of times the same gesture. It has something soothing, it is soothing for my mind or something like that. So yeah, and I'm making it for my boyfriend, and right now I'm doing the first arm, the first sleeve yeah, so yeah, welcome to Sleeve Island. But usually it does not take that much. It's just me, just a question of me having enough time to finish it. And I'm knitting these with with this yarn. This is a cone, a 1 kilogram cone, and it's a yarn by a not very famous brand. This is the Yak yarn by Maeko Tessuti, which is, I hope you'll be able to see this, which is an Italian brand, I think. It does produce this Yak yarn, some other natural fibers coming from, not from animals, but natural fibers. It has also yarn coming from a specific space, a specific area here in northern Italy, like around the city of Bergamo. Yeah, so about this yarn, I thought that Yak yarn would have been way more soft, would have been way softer, but it isn't. Like, it is very scratchy on my hands, it's very hard on my hands. Like, I'm doing it because I'm a very determined person, you learn, and because when I have to finish a project and I have in mind that I have to finish a project, I will start working on it and I will not stop until it's finished. Of course, that's not always the case. Maybe, especially like when it's very hot, I'll stop knitting like garments that I do not enjoy anymore because they are just too hot, and I'll start doing something else. But usually when I have like a sweater, I'm very focused on finishing it because I can't wait to finish it. In this case, I can't wait to finish these zipper sweater man, a light man, because I want to knit something for myself, and I think it's time. And we will talk later about my future plans, my plans for next month. But something more about this yarn. So we've said that this is by Yak yarn. I thought it would have been softer, but it isn't. But who cares? I'm knitting it anyway. There's something else that bothers me a little bit about this yarn. That is the fact that there is the texture. And I know what you'll say. You'll say that I have to swatch. I gauge swatched. I swear to you, I gauge swatched. And so I was aware of how the sweater would have come up. Yeah, sorry for my English, I'm not a mother tongue. So I was aware of it, but I showed the swatch to my boyfriend, and he told me that he liked it because he didn't want like a very heavy sweater, a very warm sweater. He wanted something that with which he could stay also, you know, in the inside when he's working and something like that. But I do not like it personally. If this was for me, I would probably have ripped that at the beginning, because you see all these spaces that are left within between the stitches. That's not for me. Probably I should have used a mohair, but as I was telling you, my boyfriend wanted something which wanted something not too heavy, not too warm, and I was a little bit worried that with more hair this would have become too much. So at the end of the story, I decided to keep it that way. I told myself, okay, this is not for you, this is for your boyfriend, and he told you that he likes these textures, so that's okay, just knit it. And here I am working on a sleeve. So yeah, that's what I have to tell you about the zipper sweater. I hope to finish it in a week. Like, come on, we can do it. Just 2 sleeves and this will be okay. More than, it's like a sleeve and a half or something like this. so I hope I'll finish it in a short period of time. But I'm enjoying it. Like, all in all, it's fun. Like, you know, stockinette stitch is very therapeutic when you have a lot going on in your life, and in the evening you can just sit on your bed and knit stockinette stitch without thinking about anything else, watching Netflix or listening to podcasts and YouTube and audiobooks or whatever you like. So yeah, this is one of the projects, one of my whips. And the cone, yeah. So talking about some of my other whips, like I think I have a problem. Like, I have the second everything you want syndrome, like second glove syndrome and second sock syndrome. And now I'm showing you this. So this is a glove. I know it's very similar to the famous penny gloves, but like it's fingerless gloves. And I'm doing this following the podcast, following the tutorial by Well Love Knits. These should be for my mom, but like I've done this first glove, I think in November maybe, and I haven't finished the second one yet. I should say that I haven't casted on the second one yet, but I will do that. So a little bit more about the, oh, by the way, both for the Balaclava tutorial and the fingerless gloves tutorial, you can find these tutorials on Well Love Knits website or YouTube channels. YouTube channels for the Balaclava, I'm sure. Fingerless gloves, I'm sure, on the website. So yeah, like yeah, I should do this for my mom, but I'm like, oh no, I want to knit something else. Because at the beginning I found these, again, the same problem. There are two blank spaces, too many blank spaces within the stitches. But yeah, I have a problem with blank spaces within the stitches. I haven't swatched for these, sorry, my fault. Yeah, and I thought these would have been too, like, not warm enough for the winter, but actually I'm wearing these inside when I'm like, my hands are freezing for so many reasons. And I found out that these are very warm actually. So I've decided to knit the second one for my mom because I know she'd love that. And so the yarn I'm using is by Borgo de Pazzi, which is again an Italian brand. And it's Lama yarn. I know it's very like weird, but I found this yarn in a local yarn store and it was on sale, like 50% discount. And so I decided to buy two skeins. They are 25 gram skeins, if I'm not wrong. And it's very rustic, it's very dry, I would say. So I'm a bit sensitive here. And I don't know why, it's the first time that I'm sensitive to yarn. Usually this does not happen with, for example, with mohair. This does not happen with very rustic yarn, but it's happening with Lama yarn. I don't know why, but it's happening. So I think I'll probably finish these in the next month, or I hope at least. And I was telling you about second everything syndrome, because I've also did a sock, which is this one. Sorry, I haven't blocked it because I didn't do the second sock. Like, this is just the first one. And sorry for the long sock. I'm like huge feet. Yeah. So something fun about me. This is a self-strapping yarn by Lana Grossa. It's the Meilenweit. I don't remember. It has like a number after it. I will link everything in the description. And yeah, I love the colors. When I saw the skein in the I'm going on knitting. When I saw the skein in the in my local yarn shop, I immediately fell in love with the colors, and I decided I had to knit a pair of socks because I had never knit a pair of socks before, so like I found, or someone suggested me a great free pattern, which is the I'm So Basic Socks by Summer. It's a free pattern that you can download on Ravelry, and I immediately decided that those would have been my first pair of socks, but spoiler, they weren't, because I couldn't finish the second one. Like, I probably got bored. I don't know, guys, it happens. But right now I'm using the same yarn for another project, which I'm very like excited about. Oh, by the way, this is the yarn. Yeah, this is the soft striping yarn, and I've caked it up because, you know, skeins are going everywhere, and you know, I don't know why, I just did it. And yeah, so I've decided to, when Handmade by Florence released her mountain walk socks, if I'm not wrong, this is the name of the pattern, I fell in love with those little cables, and I decided I had to knit a pair of mountain walk socks. And yeah, so this is what I have right now at the moment. I don't know if you can see the cable pattern very well, because of the yarn that I've chosen. So soft striping yarn or very colorful yarn are not the best for small cables, but this was what I had in the home, what I had in stash, and I didn't want to buy other yarn for socks, since I know that I have the second sock syndrome. And yeah, so here what I'm at. And I know that the problem with this is that when I have like a sweater that I'm finish in, that I know it won't be long, it won't require too much time to finish, I know that I tend to work a lot on the sweater instead of on smaller projects. So I hope to finish it for next month. But I'm enjoying this pattern. I'm enjoying this pattern because it's not all stockinette, it's ribbed, but at the same time the ribbing has these twists with the small fake cables. And I'm not saying anything more because I don't want to give away too much about the pattern, of course, but just know that if you want a very cute and beautiful and fun sock pattern, this is the mountain walk socks by Handmade by Florence Miller, if I'm not wrong. It's good. And talking about socks, I was telling you that I'm So Basic Socks by Summer is not the first pair of socks I've finished, because I haven't finished this pair of socks, but these are the Irène Socks, and this is the first pair of socks I've finished, and it's these beautiful socks with cables, and like I was addicted to it because of the cables. Like, I know that if there's one thing that makes me want to finish a sock pattern, is probably cables. So yeah, I'm not a fan of like lace details and cables on sweaters, but probably on socks it's a yes for me. And I've knitted these socks, the Irène Socks, on with my, again, Retrosaria Rosa Pomar Mondim, which is a sock yarn that actually, this is some scrap yarn, some left yarn from a project that I've knitted sometimes ago. It was the piece of silver sweater, and it's like a kit that you can find on Rosa Pomar's website, and I definitely suggest it to you. I definitely recommend it to you because it's very, it was fun. It was one of my first very complex sweaters, raglan sweaters with short rows and shaping, short rows shaping, and yeah, I loved it. Also high neck, very high neck, but it was fun. It was fun. It was a little bit less fun because of the fingering weight yarn, but I love this colorway because you know, observing the details of the yarn changing colors, it's never boring. It's always fun. It's always something that I would never stop doing. So yes, this is wonderful. So yeah, my whips. These I think are all my whips. Yeah, these are all my whips. And then I think that I could go to finished objects. And probably I could start by showing you my first finished objects of 2023. And the first finished object of 2023 is my Sophie Shawl. So my Sophie Shawl is here. It's this one. I love this. Like, I don't know if you can see the details of the colors. Yeah. I love this one. I usually wear it like this when I'm home and I want to knit, and then when I go outside I just wrap myself into it like this or something like this, and it's so squishy and so warm and never like very scratchy. So I've knitted this in a very precious yarn. It's Malabrigo Arroyo. It's a DK Sport yarn, 100 gram. One skein is 100 gram per 306 meters. So I must tell you that I didn't pay any attention to the gauge of the Sophie Shawl, simply because this summer I bought the pattern for the Sophie scarf, and I did some Sophie scarves for myself and my friends, and so I learned the process, I learned the logics behind that, and I decided that I was able to make a Sophie Shawl without buying the Sophie Shawl pattern. And yeah, I think it works. Like, I do not want to give away too much, but the logics are the same, because you start increasing, and at a certain point you start decreasing in another certain way. And yeah, so I didn't pay too much attention to the yarn I was using. I just knew I wanted to use some yarn that I had in stash, and I had 2 skeins of these Arroyo by Malabrigo yarn in the colorway 043 Plomo. It doesn't have any yarn lot because it's hand dyed, but I loved it. I loved it. Again, looking at the different tones and hues that appeared on the scarf, and yeah, it's just beautiful. I'm in love with it. And yeah, so this is my first pattern. Actually, I haven't finished so many patterns, because so many objects, because of, again, university. But I can show you something else, something that I finished in the last days of 2022. It's exactly what I'm wearing. So I'm so proud of this. Like, I'm proud of every of my knits. I'm proud of every single one of my finished objects, but this one is very nice. So this is the very feminine Soufflé Tee long sleeves by Laura Penrose of Penrose Knits. I'm in love with the sleeves and with the ruffle, of course. And I don't know if you can see that, but I also put a wonderful, beautiful button on the back. And yeah, I'm wearing this with a long sleeve shirt underneath because it's not very warm, and this is mohair and it has a lot of holes, of course, but it's very warm, I swear. And I love this pattern. I loved it because of the construction. I loved it because of the attention to details, like this part is just knitted with a single strand, while here it's double strand, and then you do this beautiful ruffle. And yeah, it's very feminine. Every time I wear this, I feel like I don't know, I feel like very girly. I don't know, not in a bad way, just like in the perfect way, in the nicest way possible, in like a girl creating her own clothes, and this is just something that I love. So this is a mohair pattern. I've knitted it with Rosarios for, or I don't know exactly the pronunciation, because I know that the brand should be Portuguese if I'm not wrong. But it's made with mohair by Aurora mohair by Rosarios 4, and it was just beautiful. This is a beautiful beautiful color, and I haven't chosen it because it was a gift for my birthday, and my friends gifted me with some balls of this mohair, and I immediately had in mind this pattern because you know, I had to make one of these, and I'm just so happy also because of how the pattern was really well explained. Like, it told you how to adapt the length and the width and the girth of the garment to your own body. So yeah, it was very size inclusive. It was very, I felt at peace when I was knitting this. So it was great. Yeah. So yeah, not many finished objects, but this is what we'll expect you. Like, I'm a very slow knitter. I like to put my attention towards 1 or 2 garments at a time, because I know that if I do have too many if I have too many projects on my needles, I will probably, like, at a certain points I will feel like I'm not accomplishing anything, and yeah, that's not good. And yeah, so right now maybe we can start talking about some plans for next month. Knitting plans. So first of all, in my knitting plans there's always the zipper sweater light man for my boyfriend to finish, and I want to finish it because I would like to start a project for myself. And that project for myself will probably be the Harlow Sweater by Kadri. Like, I've followed Emily by High Fiber Knits, knitting her Harlow Sweater with a yarn I was very curious to try, and that was the BC Garn Loch Lomond. And so I decided that I needed it, and that was the perfect occasion to try it. I've already bought the pattern and I've already bought the yarn, so I have a sweater quantity of BC Garn Loch Lomond in this chocolatey brown, and I'm in love. It's 100% wool, got certified, and in one skein you have per 150 meters per 50 grams. And Kadri uses in her sample, uses a slightly thinner yarn with mohair, but I loved Emily's decision to use a slightly bigger yarn without any mohair, and since I've wanted to try this yarn for such a long time, and BC Garn especially for such a long time, I decided that this was the right time to do it. So I bought the yarn and I'm in love with it. Like I don't know if you can see that from the camera, but there are some small like blue and white speckles within it, and I love it, and I think it's good on my skin because my skin is not too brown, and so yes, I love the yarn, the color immediately. I was actually a little bit undecided. I was because my attention was caught by this color and another like an anthracite, if I'm not wrong, color. But in the end, I asked everyone I saw around me, and we decided for the chocolatey brown. And yeah, I don't remember the exact name of the color, but the color should be LL007. Yeah. So if you want to try the same yarn, and I'll tell you how this will go. I think that the texture, it's not that rustic, like it's very soft, it's still very soft, but it's a little bit more like dry than other like merino wool, than some merino wool or alpaca, of course. But it's still, I can already tell you that this will be very soft on my skin and very delicate on my skin. And yeah, so the Harlow Sweater by Kadri, it's my future first project. Then it's time for me to knit something for my mom, something serious for my mom. So I don't know if a lot of you remember about this yarn brand which appeared last year, but then at the same time now it has disappeared, or I don't know why. But yeah, last year I test knitted some garments for the yarn lovers, and just to say thank you, they sent me some yarn, and they sent me this Merino Alpaka, which is 15% superwash fine merino, 15% alpaca, 45% acrylic, and 26% polyamide. And it's 50 grams per 225 meters per 50 grams. This is the color Spotted Burgundy. So at first I didn't know what to do with this, especially because I wasn't like very sure about the color and how it would have paired with my skin. But I think that this color can suit my mom, and plus one of my goals for this year is getting rid of all the yarns that I do not like or that I do not want anymore in my stash, either by gifting, selling, or making some like gifts to gifted garments for my loved ones. And so probably this will turn out to be a Cumulous Blouse by Petit Knit, because I already have the pattern that I realized last year for myself with brushed alpaca silk by Drops, and I held it single inside while the pattern calls for 2 strands of mohair held together. But I think that this yarn is thick enough to of course hold it double. Of course it's thicker than mohair, and probably even thicker than 2 strands of mohair together. But I think that this color will suit my mom, and I think that this yarn will be perfect for it because it's still very light, it's still very hairy, and probably it will be like a transitional garment for between like winter to spring, and perfect for the kind of weather that we have here in Italy at that time of the year. I don't want it to seem that I do not appreciate this yarn. It's just like it has been very hard to decide what to do with this, because I couldn't find any pattern that totally convinced me, because of the structure of the yarn that is almost blown, but at the same time it's not very thick. Like, it's not like drops air or drops it's not like drops air, or I'm thinking about Wolf Folk Luft, which are a bit thicker. It's very thin, and yeah, so it was hard for this reason. Then about the composition, yes, it's not the it's not the most ethical yarn you can find, but I think it's less ethical to simply keep it in stash and not use it. So I have this yarn, I'll use it, and I'll try to make the best out of it, and if my mom won't like it, I'll probably give the garment to someone else, and that's it. I prefer doing something with this and turn this ball of yarn into something that let it rest and stay there forever. So yeah, the Cumulous Blouse by Pedinit. And I have in mind another special project, but I do not have the yarn with me. I do not have the yarn with me because I have to find the perfect yarn with it. So the other project that I would like to do is the Sommernacht shawl by Evgeniya. Sorry if I'm butchering the name, which I'm probably doing. But it's this beautiful shawl with lace details, and I want to knit this not for me but for my grandma, whose birthday is the 5th of March. And I've already checked out the pattern on Ravelry, and I love the color that it's proposed there. If I'm not wrong, this pattern was published also in Lane magazine issue 14, but I could be wrong. But well, you know, you'll find all the details in the description below. And yeah, so this will be probably another project. Like, shawls always get me. It's always strange knitting shawls, because I always think that it will be easy, it will be fast, but in the end, knitting shawls, it's long. Like, it requires time. So I'm taking a month to knit the shawl for my nonna, hoping that it will be ready for her birthday, because I would really love to have her to have something made by me for her birthday. I probably choose like a very neutral color, because I know she loves her beige, she loves grays, she loves also soft and pastel pinks, and this is probably what I'm going for. And yeah, so I hope I will be able to find the perfect yarn. I'm planning to buy it actually tomorrow. I hope, because I'll go to, like, not really a yarn festival, but like a creativity festival, can we call it like that, a craft festival or fair in Milan, which is Abilmente. And I know there will be a lot of stands and people, a lot of crafters, and I hope I will find some good yarn for this shawl, because it will be great. And I always find it very hard to buy yarns on the internet, because you never know how the actual color will turn out to be. And I always prefer to go to local yarn shops, or like go for yarns that I know very well, that I know that yeah, that I know well. And yeah, so these are my projects. My projects, of course, include finishing the mountain walk socks, both of them, and probably, I hope, also the fingerless gloves that I was showing you before. So yeah, that will be all. It will be probably a very interesting month of knitting. I hope I'll be able to do everything, but I don't have any like exams this month. They will all be on March. So yeah, hopefully I'll manage to do everything, but at least I want to finish my Nana's shawl and my mom's Cumulous Blouse. But yeah, we'll see that. Probably I should cast on something. Okay, do not become knitting anxious about knitting, please, Elisa. Don't do that. Yeah, so I think that this is the end of this first podcast. It's probably very long. I told you that I love talking about knitting, and this is probably why I'm doing this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed staying with me and listening to me while knitting with me. And yeah, if you have any suggestions or things that you would like to see in this podcast, if you are curious about where I live, like northern Italy, or if you've never been in Milan and you would like to see something more about the city or something more about like the yarn shops that are there or around me, just let me know in the comments or on Instagram. As I told you, my Instagram handle is Elisa Knitting Stories. And yeah, I'll definitely answer to you, be sure about that. And yeah, so see you in the next one.